We live in an age of constant warnings, from weather apps on our phones to global seismic sensors. But what if all that technology failed? How would we know when disaster was coming? For our ancestors, this wasn't a hypothetical question. It was a matter of survival. They didn't have satellites or global models, but they had their own sophisticated warning systems, often more localized and nuanced than today's technology. Think about it. How did ancient peoples, without satellites or seismic sensors, sense impending doom? They weren't helpless victims of natural forces. Instead, they were keen observers of the world around them. They saw the sky as a book, filled with signs and omens that could be read to predict the future. Our ancestors understood that the earth itself spoke, if you knew how to listen. Indigenous communities, with their deep connection to the environment, learned to read the whispers of the earth. They observed subtle shifts in nature, looking for clues that something was wrong. This intimate knowledge was their first and most reliable warning system. Animals were often the first to know when disaster was near. Our ancestors noticed strange changes in their behavior, like birds flying inland or fish moving to deeper waters. They understood that these creatures were a vital part of the warning network, sensing things humans could not. This type of bioindicator research is something modern science is just beginning to rediscover. The ground itself offered clues. People learned to interpret geological phenomena as seismic precursors. This included things like changes in water levels, strange smells from the earth, or even a subtle rumbling sound from deep below. These observations were a crucial part of predicting earthquakes or volcanic eruptions. Even plants played a role in forecasting. Our ancestors watched for unusual blooming patterns or plants wilting without explanation. These subtle signs could indicate an impending drought or a major shift in weather. For a society dependent on agriculture, this botanical knowledge was incredibly valuable. Beyond the earth, our ancestors looked to the heavens. They used astronomical observations to predict seasonal changes, floods, and even solar eclipses. The stars and planets were not just distant lights. They were a calendar and a clock for the entire world. Many ancient structures weren't just monuments. They were sophisticated tools for long-term pattern recognition. Think of Stonehenge or Mayan observatory. These stone calendars allowed them to track the movement of the sun and moon, helping them to predict agricultural cycles and celestial events with impressive accuracy. Knowledge was passed down through generations. Oral traditions and written records, like Babylonian omen texts or Egyptian papyri, preserved centuries of observations. These documents helped identify cyclical patterns in floods, droughts, and other natural events, turning generational wisdom into a powerful forecasting tool. So, what happened to this wisdom? Our ancestors had an intimate connection with the natural world. Urbanization and our reliance on technology have dulled our innate observational skills, leading us to depend almost entirely on technological solutions. Have we become too reliant on our gadgets? Despite our modern advancements, some communities still rely on this traditional knowledge. Contemporary indigenous communities continue to use their deep understanding of the environment for disaster preparedness, often alongside modern systems. They prove that the old ways are still relevant. This makes us wonder, what valuable insights have we lost? How can we integrate ancient wisdom with modern science to create more resilient communities? The answer may not be to choose one over the other, but to combine the best of both worlds. Imagine a future where technology is augmented by localized, traditional ecological knowledge. We could have a global network of sensors, but also a network of people who know their local environment so well they can spot the first signs of trouble. This is the future of foresight. In fact, modern science is starting to catch up with our ancestors. Researchers are now looking into bioindicators and animal behavior, hoping to scientifically validate the methods our ancestors used. They are working to rediscover and reclaim this lost knowledge, seeing its potential for a more holistic approach to forecasting. This isn't just about ancient history, it's about our future. We need to re-engage with our natural world and appreciate the incredible ingenuity of those who came before us. By blending old and new, we can create a safer, more prepared world for everyone. Let's not forget the lessons of the past. Our ancestors weren't just trying to survive. They were trying to understand. And in their understanding, they created a powerful legacy of foresight that we are only now beginning to fully appreciate.